once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. And there again is an old-fashioned radio sounder that I collect. And so, even though it goes back many, many years, and, well, so do I pick them up, and occasionally I start the program of interesting ideas with an old-fashioned sounder. I'm Stan Houston, and today I'm going to talk about Rush Limbaugh. Now, today is the 1-year anniversary, perhaps celebration, commemoration of his life and then of his death. 1 year ago today. Now, no matter who you are, you probably have strong feelings about him in one way or another. And isn't that interesting? Strong feelings about him one way or another. And I'd like to deal today with just one thing he said, and here it goes. He said, all of life is show prep. All of life is show prep. That's an interesting idea, and that's what we're going to talk about right now on the program. And here we go. And just a few words to get us started. First of all, that's exactly what Rush was all about. He had a gift for encouraging people to have strong feelings. And so those millions of people who followed him and listened to him truly loved him, believed in him, and they did follow him. He had a way of doing that. On the other hand, for some reason or another, whether they had heard about him, because oftentimes the people who had strong feelings against him hadn't really listened to him that much, but they had heard about him, and supposedly they thought they knew about him. But there is perhaps even an equally strong group of people who have negative feelings about him. Why did that happen? How did that happen? What could that teach you about how you do life and business? Now, as I oftentimes tell people, when I use Rush Limbaugh as a good example as to how to do radio, some people speak up and say, well, I don't like Rush Limbaugh. I didn't like Rush Limbaugh. And then I teach them another lesson from a man who helped me kind of adjust to the name Stanley. In the early part of the 20th century through the mid part of the 20th century, there was a man who made an incredible difference in the lives of many people. He was a missionary to India. His name was E. Stanley Jones. And in a lifetime of service to that country, and in the many books that he wrote, he changed lives. Hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of lives were changed for the better because of E. Stanley Jones. And he talks about how at an early stage in life, when he was really blasted, he was put down, there was incredible failure in his life, and then he said, I learned this lesson. I learned that by God's grace, whatever happened to me, it could be useful. Whatever people thought of me or did to me, it could be useful. I could learn something. And so I simply pass that on to you. You know what? You may not like Rush Limbaugh, but you know what? You can probably learn from him or learn something from him. And that's where I'd like to start today. First of all, there are a whole lot of Rushisms that you've probably heard about if you even listen today. The one that I think bothered people so very much was, a talent on loan from God. Now, of course, that sounds incredibly arrogant. Perhaps it is. But it could have a double meaning. It could be all of that, real arrogance. I'm so talented that I'm a God-given talent. That, incredible me. And, of course, many people took it that way. On the other hand, he would flip it and say, what I'm saying is, the talent is from me. I have been gifted. I've been gifted by God. So it doesn't belong to me. It's a gift to me. I take no responsibility for my success. The talent that I have and the talent that has done me so well, it's a gift from God. On loan even, which means He could take it away anytime. Now, do you see how the marvel of miracle stuff communication can come out of that? Because it can truly have that double meaning. And, of course, that means people will respond to it very differently. But the one I want to mention today is simply this. Hey, all of life is show prep. Now, one of the reasons I teach you and say to you that you should be involved in podcast radio is just as radio was able to take a guy from Missouri, small town in Missouri, and have a worldwide reputation, was because he learned how to use what he loved. He never went to college. I think he may have tried it, but he said, why am I doing this? All I've ever wanted to do was be on the radio. Always. And so he started up the radio ladder, and he fell off many times. His line oftentimes says this. He said, well, let me tell you, part of the way you get good at radio is get fired a lot. And I was. I started programs, and the program director didn't like them, so he fired me. So I failed many times, and in those failures, I discovered a little bit about who I was and what I was about and what I should do. And because of my failures, I was able to be successful in radio. But at the same time, I'm no role model for my life, I've failed at marriage. I've failed in a number of things. But again, I can learn from them too, and hopefully do better again next time. I listened to a song by Frank Sinatra coming into the studio, and it was an old song, and we're going to do a program on it. And the old Frank Sinatra song was, "Let me try again. Let me try again. Let me try again." Great song. By the way, look it up. Yeah, I'm going to try again. Now, walk me here again. All of life is show prep. All of life is show prep. Now think about that for about 30 seconds, and I'll be back and I'll finish my story. When I'm giving radio seminars and teaching people how to be on the radio, one of the most common things I hear from people is, well, I don't have anything to say. I don't know what I would talk about. And my answer is, oh yes you do. You have lots of things to say. You have lots of stories to tell. You are just full of good things that could be on the radio. Perhaps you need someone like me who knows a few of the secrets, and I can help you find that. But let me tell you, once you get involved in this, you will never, ever run out of things to say. And perhaps know how to say them in very interesting ways. You will have so many interesting ideas, you won't believe it. And you know why I know that? Because you become just exactly what Rush said. Supposedly, the old famous disc jockey of my age, Wolfman Jack, when he was teaching young men and women how to be on the radio, he required them to always carry a notebook. And the legend was that he would come in to where his little program people were and say notebooks, and if they couldn't provide and pull out their notebook, he'd fire them. And his reason was this. He said, as you go about your day, you're going to have all kinds of things that come into your life. You're going to see things, you're going to hear things, you're going to learn things. And if you've got the right mindset, you will write them down because they will all be good things for your radio show. And you know what? That's true. I am incredibly curious, and everything, and this drives my wife nuts sometimes, something happens. A joke, a bumper sticker, a quote from Rush, and I say, well, I could make a program out of that. I read a book. Oh, look at all the things I could do. I actually sat down with a man who has written a wonderful book, and he said, well, I really don't know how I could do a radio program from my book. And I immediately opened it up and went through the chapters, and I said, here. And I gave him examples, and he was, oh, really? Oh, yeah. Here he had created all the good stuff for a radio program. He had created it, and he didn't even know that it could be something that could be powerful and would allow him to have a platform and presence and could be very helpful, make people happy, be useful to them. Now, that happens all the time. I'm carrying around with me right now, and I have this cardstock I carry, and then, of course, I have my phone that has a dictation on it, and every day I'm writing things down that come to me, or literally pulling up my phone and making audio note, and at the end of the day, I've got all kinds of ideas that I could use in a presentation, in a talk. All of it came to me just not because I went into a library. I just experienced it. And I captured it and found a way to communicate it. One of the things that drove the librarians and the English teachers nuts when I was a guest lecturer, a broadcast teacher in a small college, because I said to the young men and women, I don't want you to go to the library to look for a topic to talk about. What? Don't do any research? No, you can do some research, but what I want you to do is just keep your eyes, ears, and your experience wide open about the things you love and the things you're interested in. And you know what? The programs will come to you. Yes, that's the grace-filled thing about it. If you're fully alive and fully connected and listening to people and watching what's going on and observing and caring and asking people to tell you stories, guess what? Great and good things happen. But you have to be there. You have to be fully present. You have to be fully alive. You have to be curious. You have to care. You have to connect. And that's exactly what Rush was saying. All of life is show prep. Everything about what I do and who I care for and who I love and the mistakes I make and the dumb things I do, all of that can come together. All of life is show prep. Thank you for listening. I hope that had been helpful. There's all kinds of things we can remember and learn from Rush when it comes to life and show prep, and there's all kinds of things that we could probably learn that we probably should avoid and do differently. But I want you to think about that today, because we're going through some challenging times, some very difficult times, and times that will excite your soul, and there will be things that just throw you in the ditch. I just went through an experience where all of a sudden something really bad seemed to happen. But you know what? I think it's going to work out for the best. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be better. And I think that could be the same for you. And then, of course, if it does, I'll be able to talk about it and share it with you. Indeed, all of life is show prep. Well, the program was only 15 minutes. Well, it's really not even going to make 15 minutes, hardly. But you see, you can learn just in a 10 or 15 minute program. And right now, I'm going to encourage you to think that way. And I can help you. StanHouston@gmail.com, StanHouston@gmail.com. We can get you on the radio. We can help you be a better speaker, a better performer, a better leader and manager in life today. That's what we do, and I think we do it well. So reach out to me at StanHouston@gmail.com. We're going to make you more interesting by helping you be more interested in good people and good things. And check us out. Here we go. witradio.net. Very simple. witradio.net. You will meet me and my colleague Sherry, and you're going to learn more and more and more about how just by learning how to be on the radio, you'll learn how to be a better person, a more interesting person. And even whether you ever get on the radio or not, or have a big-time show, you'll be able to live better and experience things and perhaps even some of the good stuff that God has in store for you, just because you knew that indeed all of life is show prep. All the best and blessings, and bye for now.